There we go. Good evening. Welcome to the July 1st, 2026 Charter Review Commission meeting. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone who's here. Michelle, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Ottaguame.
Present.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Present.
Commissioner LeBrant. I haven't seen him yet. There he is. He's online, everybody.
Present.
Thank you. Chair Erickson.
Here.
Secretary Garber.
Here.
Commissioner Hamlick.
Here.
Commissioner Chrisley.
Here.
Commissioner Landisberg.
Here.
Commissioner Jay.
Here.
Commissioner Klein.
Here.
Commissioner Gasquet.
Here.
Commissioner Holmgren.
Here.
Commissioner Benton.
Here.
Vice Chair Haas.
Here.
And Commissioner Silliman.
Yes. Yes.
We are all present.
All right. Moving on to our agenda, we have the approval of our agenda. Anybody have any comments for or against the agenda? Anybody want to make a motion to approve it?
So moved, Klein.
Second, Chrisley.
Anyone, any opposition to the agenda or to the vote to accept it? Copy of the agenda, approval of the agenda passes. Now we will move on to open public comment. If we have any, Michelle?
We do. We have one signed up in the room, and I do have a couple of hands raised online.
All right. Prior to that, I will read this. The Clark County Charter Review Commission welcomes and encourages public comment. Public comment provides an opportunity for members of the community to share input with the Charter Review Commission. Comments should focus on issues relevant to the Commission's responsibilities. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes. The microphone will automatically be turned off if the time limit is reached. The Commission will listen to comments, but will not engage in discussion during the public comment period. During public comment, speakers are asked to keep the remarks respectful, focused on Commission business. Remarks concerning private activities or beliefs of others, individual county employees or elected officials, or matters unrelated to the work of the Commission fall outside the purposes of public comment. Disruptive, uncivil, or defamatory conduct is not permitted. Thank you for taking the time to participate in this process.
Jennifer Wendell.
Thank you for letting me speak. My name is Jennifer Wendell from District 4. I'm here to express my continued opposition to Amendment 2608 for those commissioners who have proclaimed public safety as their primary objective. I ask you to reconsider your support for this amendment ahead of next week's vote. The negative synergy between demanding increased law and justice funding while impeding one of the county's only mechanisms for raising revenue has been made clear. Recently, Sheriff Horsch testified to the County Council regarding his request for increased funding, and representatives from the Budget Office outlined how current law and justice spending levels will see cuts unless the council finds additional revenue. Publicly championing public safety while making it politically riskier and therefore more difficult for councilors to finance your stated goal seems counterproductive at best and questionable at worst. If funding public safety is truly a top priority, implementing a filibuster on county council tax decisions will not achieve that goal. So I'm asking you to vote no on sending 2608 to the voters next week. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. So we do have 2 callers online. Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please go ahead and do so. State your name for the record and go ahead with your comment.
Good evening, Kimberly Goheen Elbin. So I listened to the 1 p.m. Clark County Council meeting today, and agenda number 8 was on policy updates. It was mentioned numerous times that the presenter of this particular policy did not bring any documents or information to the council as to President Trump's administration requesting a reply to a questionnaire.
Excuse me,
to,
caller. That has to do with the
Yes?
council, not the commission.
Well, I just thought maybe you would want to know that they're going to sign this letter, and it was mentioned that they were going to
Okay. Do you
bypass
have
the
any
Open Public
comments
Meetings
that are going to
Act.
help the commission understand better?
Well, I thought that would, and this is an open public comment. And for me, I like I said before months ago, I'm a little new at this, but I think that you should know that this council is going to sign a letter stating that they do not want to comply to ICE. And I think that's for protection of the county's people here, we the people. And that
Okay,
they
caller.
want to bypass
You're
they
obviously
don't want the
off
public
from what
to
we have
understand.
control over, so we will move on to the next caller. Thank you.
Caller, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please go ahead and do so. State your name for the record and go ahead with your comment.
My name is Bradley Branham. I'm from District Number 5. I hope everyone is well tonight. I urge each commissioner to ground their vote on S2 2608. I urge each commissioner to ground their vote in a clear understanding of the severe and escalating fiscal distress confronting Clark County. During the 2025 budget process, the county manager warned of an ongoing structural deficit and stated that her recommended budget sought to limit service impacts while addressing critical needs. She also emphasized that this approach is not sustainable. Departments were advised to prepare for future shortfalls, and without revenue adjustments, such as the property tax levy, which increase was not approved, the county will inevitably face service reductions. These warnings were borne out on 24 June 2026 council work session and on the 2027 budget process. The proposed reductions required that budget stabilization would significantly impair operational capacity, jeopardizing essential administrative functions, public safety compliance, and core community services. Rising mandatory costs further underscore the strain of the county fiscal system. Compounding this situation is the emerging concurrency crisis. As reported by Ms. Field in the Columbian on 29 June 2026, Councillor Young proposed an emergency ordinance to address a 12-year accumulation of concurrency failures attributed to the county engineer. The Clark County Charter, Section 3.40, strictly limits the scope and duration of emergency ordinances. In evaluating the rationale for such an action, I conducted a multi-model advanced AI analysis and encouraged all charter commissioners to undertake similar review. If Clark County adheres to the requirements of Washington's Growth Management Act, it may need to identify between $400 million and $700 million to bring 22 failing corridors into compliance, exclusive of costs associated with eminent domain. Additionally, a summer construction moratorium affecting 30 projects could result in an estimated $20 million judgment against the county. This crisis also introduces substantial volatility into key revenue streams, including real estate excise tax, sales tax, permitting fees, and impact fees. In summary, this is not the moment to weaken the county's only reliable mechanism or expose it to politically motivated obstruction during a period of acute physical instability. Please vote no on 2608 and let a charter commission in the future, with the benefit of a stabilized budget, reconsider the supermajority taxation question. Thank you for listening to my Black Swan song, and have a good day.
Thank you, Colin.
Chair, that concludes public comment.
All right. Thank you to everybody who had comments. We're going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which would be the approval of the minutes from the June 24th, 2026 meeting. Anybody have any updates to the minutes? Anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved Klein.
And is there a second?
Chrisley,
Silverman.
second.
Chrisley and Silverman, both second. Is there any opposition to approval of the minutes? Not hearing any, the minutes are approved. All right, moving forward, we have the executive committee report. I'm going to start with the chair, who's remote today. Mr. Chair, do you have anything? I'm sorry? I'll probably screw something up, so pay attention, please, because I'm going to need help. Chair Erickson.
Hello, I have one item, and then I will let Secretary Garber discuss another topic. But first, in an earlier meeting, a member of our commission asked about the permissibility around a prospective deferral of an amendment as late as July 8th. And at the time, I offered a preliminary opinion that I didn't see a reason that that could not happen, but I would look into that further and come back with a more definitive answer. And I'm here now with that more definitive answer. And in fact, there is no prohibition either within our documents or in consultation with the PA's office that would prohibit the deferral of an amendment as late as next week if a sponsor so chooses. That's all I have. There is a topic that Commissioner Garber and I had discussed, and Commissioner Garber, I'm going to deviate slightly from our earlier discussion and suggest that you can discuss the entirety of that topic if that's okay.
Thank you, Chair. Secretary Garber.
Okay, well, I'm not sure exactly which one you're talking about, but the first one I'll talk about, and then if you could remind me, I'd be happy to further on the other one. But I wanted to talk about when we met at our last drafting committee meeting, I had mentioned just kind of in passing, if a person wanted to appeal the ballot language that the PA might write. And I don't know if you all know that that is available to appeal the language that's written. And it's RCW 29A 36.090. And it just allows any person that's dissatisfied with the ballot title or it's the ballot language is what they mean by ballot title. They may, within 10 days from the time of the filing of the ballot title by the PA, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, appeal to the Superior Court of the county where the question is to appear on the ballot. So I wanted to let you know that that's out there just because you might not know. And I wanted to also let you know that we have created a process where I will be taking the proposed resolutions that we vote yes on and move them to the ballot to the PA, to Deputy Prosecuting Attorneys Jolma and McDowell for them to sign the resolutions that they reviewed. And then I will be able to take it directly over to the auditor and I will get them time stamped in the order that we have decided how they're going to be time stamped. I will also do a written request of the auditor and the prosecuting attorney to let us know the moment they are filed with the auditor. When I find that information out, I will forward that to all of you and let you know because it is very time sensitive. So that was the first one. And if Commissioner Erickson could remind me on the other, I'd be happy to talk further.
Sure. So I'll introduce the topic and then Commissioner Garber, maybe you could finish the discussion. So this has to do with, it started around a discussion around, I believe it's 2631. You have to remind me on the number, but the amendment that would increase prospectively the Ethics Commission from 5 to 3, where we've had discussions in the past meeting about the prospect of the county council making that change in code, which would make the need for our amendment moot, but that decision won't be made until after July 8th. And so there was some discussion around how we might structure the prospective passage of that amendment in our commission. So the part of the topic that I wanted to update our body on is that when we come to that vote next week, the motion and the discussion will be around the timing of the delivery to the amendment outside of the commission, should it pass. Once the amendment leaves the control of the commission, then it's outside of our control and we don't really have a mechanism to claw it back necessarily. So our mechanism to achieve the goal that we've discussed is to simply hold on to it and not deliver it until we understand how the council is going to act. And in that course of that discussion, we've asked the PA's office about their ability to accommodate that, and it's also brought up some other topics about the instructions on the amendments. And that was the topic I thought, Commissioner Garber, if you wanted to update folks on.
Sure, I'd be happy to. I did reach out to the senior deputy prosecuting attorney just to ask a procedural question only, and asked her if we provided that one to her at a later date, if that would be okay. And there was no problem with that. But it's once it leaves our hands and goes to the PA, if we wanted to rescind it, then it would take an actual meeting of us to officially rescind it. But if we don't turn it in until after the meeting, that will be fine with her. She mentioned that she could look at the proposed ballot language and could be considering it without actually getting it. So it will not slow down the process if we wait until after the vote of the county council to determine if it will be placed into code. So, and then, like I did mention, the instructions will, as long as we get them to her, the main ones, get them to the PA, to Deputy Prosecuting Attorneys Jolma and McDowell, if we get them to them by the 17th, or get them to the auditor by the 17th, there will be time for her to do that other one. So they're in alignment with what we need to do for this. That's it.
Clarification.
Hmm.
So the object would be for us to hold that amendment until July 20th, which is when they've scheduled the hearing on the ordinance. And if they pass the ordinance, then we don't hand it off to the elections department.
Right, we would still vote on it, and we will vote with a, kind of with a caveat that we will hold it back, and then it's dependent on the vote. And then if they don't put it in council, then we will take it on to the PA.
Any further questions? Thank you, Secretary Garber. That concludes I don't have anything for the executive report. I've got some stuff down in the body, so I'll hold that for them. We'll move on to comments by County Councilor Michelle Belcott. Counselor, we give 15 minutes for your presentation and/or your presentation and to take some questions.
Wow, 15 minutes. That's a long time. First of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you for running for charter commissioners. Let's see if I can get this to calm down. Thank you for serving our county and for assisting the council in making difficult decisions or improving council decisions, as the case may be. So I'm going to go over my suggested clarifications as far as they're related to the charter amendments. I showed up, I think, at the right time because now you finalize everything and I don't have to go over every single thing that you've discussed in the past. Alrighty, so I'm going to start out with 2601, clarifying nonpartisan office elections. That would be a no from me. I think this gives unfair advantage to incumbents, but reducing potential fundraising by eliminating one of the two election cycles allowed by the PDC. Those with established campaigns would have an advantage. 2607 housing impact analysis. I would be a yes on this. It provides better transparency on future affordability. I think it provides visibility on how policy is impacting housing costs. 2608 requiring supermajority council for approval for county taxes. I'm a yes on this. This has been an issue with the current county council imposing any tax they deem fit. Even when the proposed tax lacks structure or budget limitations aren't well defined or defined at all. This was the case this year. Rising taxes shouldn't be as easy as approving proclamations. 26-10 revised budget transparency on process. This is a yes. I think this is an excellent idea. The earlier the budgeting process occurs, the better. Budgeting to the last moment in December a few years ago wasn't great. It was very stressful. So I think this is an excellent idea. 26-14 performance audits. I'm a no, but I support. And for this reason, I asked about this earlier today to the county manager. I was wondering if this is something that the council could ask and require so that we don't have to put it on the ballot. I think having an independent audit outside the executive branch is a good idea. So I would like, just personally, if legal could look at that one in particular. 26-20, limitation on consecutive terms for county council members. I was a no because I looked into this personally. I'm not aware of any counselor running for an extended length of time. It's a difficult job. It seems to be other elected positions such as the PA auditor, et cetera, have elected running multiple decades in terms. This seems to be specifically targeted to the council. I'm not sure why just the council and not all elected. I suggest those considering running for a council position in the future recuse themselves from voting on this charter initiative. Right. 26-23 revised council powers regarding boards and commissions. I was a yes. It would restore decision-making at the legislative branch level. 26-24 require annual report publication by the county manager. I'm a no, but support. And this was another thing I was wondering if the county council could ask for or require. So that was another thing I wanted a legal opinion on. 26-31 Ethics Review Commission to consent of 5 members instead of the current number, which you were all just discussing. I was a yes. This was an issue with the former council makeup. We recently even revised EMS 2 due to some of the same circumstances mentioned in the proposed initiative, like quorum, voting, absences. Also, the charter review should not bring multiple amendments because it will cause fatigue from voters. Consider pausing until 2027, add due process and maybe a few other aspects of improvement. 2340, amending the initiative, mini initiative and referendum process. I was a yes. Consider increasing the days allowed for signature gathering, which is currently shorter than what the state allows. So those are my recommendations. Take it or leave it. You all are the boss.
Thank you. Are you up for some questions?
Yes.
All right. Are there any questions for council? Mr. Ogbomi?
Thank you. Councilor Belkoff, thank you for coming. I think we've only met one time, but it's nice to see you again. I wanted to drill into your response on 2620 a little bit, which is the one for consecutive terms or limiting consecutive terms for county council members. I supported this proposal as it worked its way through the process. And in so doing, I sort of questioned how come we didn't take the broad stroke on the first brush to apply it to all the county positions? Is this something where you would support it for all county positions, both council and the elected executives, just elected executives, or do you not support it in general?
Good question. Well, just like people or coworkers, I think we all have an opinion of each other as colleagues. So I guess I'm not going to say any names, but it would depend on, my opinion would depend on which elected position. So that's just my personal opinion. But I don't think that it should be limited to just council. I don't think I think there's an equity issue with that because why should county councilors be targeted? And why wouldn't that include all the elected bodies? So that's something I would have to think about, honestly.
Okay. Michelle, if Commissioner Chrisley puts his hand up or something, we're not going to see it. So can you just let us know?
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. Thank you, Councilor Belcott. Very much appreciated. I was just curious, obviously this is what we're considering for this year, but if you have any feedback or recommendations for things that we can consider for the future or other areas of the charter that you think deserve further review. You could follow up at another time if you'd like.
I will do that. Yeah, I'd have to think about that, but I can email you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments? Questions?
Commissioner Erickson.
Commissioner Erickson.
Thank you. Councilor Belcott, thank you for coming to speak. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I want to piggyback on Commissioner Alagome's question to you regarding 2620 on term limits. The 2620 was put together purposefully in a go slow approach that currently includes the council with the intent that next year there would be a separate amendment to include the executive branch positions. Would your opinion of this amendment change if with the understanding that next year there would be a companion amendment addressing the executive branch of county government?
Yes, that would be something I would consider. Yes.
Would it change your opinion about the current amendment?
I'd want to see it in writing first.
Okay.
It's the contracting in me.
Okay, thank you.
All right, commissioners, are there any other questions for the counselor?
Commissioner LeBrandt has his hand up.
Okay, Commissioner LeBrandt.
So I have a kind of a philosophical question, and this is on 2601. And it's something that I'd be curious to hear, maybe even from other members of the commission on too. But the big argument for, or I'm sorry, the big argument against that one seems to be around limiting fundraising and campaigning opportunities in a primary election for folks. I'm a tightwad when it comes to spending money, and I'm curious what the rationale is for spending taxpayer resources to essentially to benefit politicians. And I'm still not sure. So I was hoping that you might have some insight on that.
I think with that one in particular, it takes you off the ballot for fundraising purposes and gives it to the incumbent. So I guess that's what my point was associated with that one in particular, as far as my opinion goes. And I know that when I initially got into politics, I was like I wasn't not involved in politics at all. I was an angry mother about COVID. That's how I got involved and ran for school board. So if I was running against, an elected incumbent, I would be at a disadvantage. I think being in the voter's pamphlet or on the ballot as much as you can benefits you as a candidate. And I think, to me, it was more of a fairness issue.
Okay.
Thank you. And thank you for spending time with us this evening.
No problem.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Yes, I just wanted to add just a very brief addition on the question of the being on the primary ballot or not. It's not just fundraising. That's often brought up as the main reason that you want to be on that ballot. You want to be on that ballot so that people know that you're running. And if it waits until the general election, so much time has passed that you have not had that awareness by the electorate that you are even running. And that is one of the main reasons, and I think justifies the additional expense.
Yeah, yes, that's a good point, Commissioner. Getting your face out there, because advertising is extremely expensive, as some of you probably know. When you're running for election, campaigning is just extremely costly. So any face time that you can get as a candidate, I mean, you all need all the help that you can get as you're running for whatever position you're running for. So everybody needs all the help that they can get. I hope that's a better explanation.
All right, Secretary Garber.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Belcott, for coming to this meeting. I don't know if you are aware, but I'm the sponsor of 2601. And I just wanted to clarify, even though a person might not be on the primary ballot, there's nothing in law that says how early you can get your campaign signs out and you can start campaigning. This was actually a kind of a no-nonsense charter amendment to save the county about $83,000 every time the executive and legislative branch is on the ballot, because if there's only one or two candidates, then they would go directly to the general. But it certainly would not stop anybody from putting their name out there and getting that face time and doing that kind of stuff. So I'm just, I just wanted to clarify that.
I appreciate that, Kathy. I am one of those people, when I get a voter's pamphlet, I have a highlighter, I'm making notes. I'm a nerd. So if I didn't see somebody in the primary, I'd be like, oh, I guess this is it. I don't know. That's what my go-to is. So I understand about the cost benefit, but I just think it's an opportunity to see all the candidates all at the same time. So both times.
Commissioner Klein.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Belcott, for speaking with us. I weigh in with you with the same sentiment about 2601. I think that the citizens need to have all of the advantage of learning about the candidates running for office, both in the primary and the general. People usually are not voracious in seeking information about candidates, and learning about them in the ballot twice is important. We recently spent $4 million on an elections department remodel. The cost of adding a couple of extra pages or the extra pages required to have these candidates in the primary should not be a consideration to take away the opportunity for our citizens to learn. So I'm a no on 2601, and I support you in your opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I was a no vote on the remodel myself.
All right, any last second questions? Not seeing any. Thank you very much, Counselor, for coming and joining us today and giving us your opinions.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Well, with that, it looks like we move on to committee reports. Is the Public Outreach Committee ready to report?
Sure. Thank you to Commissioner Jay for leading the discussion last week while I was out. We have not met due to we have not met. We do not have an update on the speaking guidance document. I think some of you were expecting that, having listened to the meeting. Commissioner Jay has put together the summary kind of cheat sheet that Commissioner LeBrant requested. So we should have that available to everybody to review and discuss, not at our July 8th meeting, but at the July 15th meeting. But if anybody still has comments or changes they want to suggest, try to do that before the end of this week. I'm going to try to get the document finalized so that you have plenty of time to review it. But we didn't have a chance to get that done this week. In addition, the public comment form is closing at the end of this week. I think, yes? Good,
July 6th.
Yes, July 6th. So it will close on Monday. We will get any final comments at that time. They will be turned into a report that will be shared with all of us prior to the July 8th meeting. I'm going to send out a draft version, or the Public Outreach Committee will send out a draft version of those reports in advance of the meeting. Hopefully, we won't get too many comments over the weekend and Monday morning before documents are due to Michelle, but that'll be similar to the documents you've been receiving that has a summary of the number of comments on each proposal and the comments on each of them. Are you all fine with the way the format of that has been set up so far? It can be tweaked still a little bit, but I just want to make sure that you're okay with getting the public comments for the proposals that will be on the agenda for July 8th and all of the other proposals that we have gotten comments on. So this will be a comprehensive document of all the comments that have been received throughout the public outreach process up until this point. So that's the town halls, these meetings, any emails, those any type of public comment.
Okay. Any questions for, Commissioner Aguami?
Thank you, Vice Chair. Just want to, I think I'd given you this note before, but just want to be certain that that's also going to include in that report sort of the questions that people had throughout this process, not just their comments for or against or about amendments, but also what questions might they have had so that we can seek to be proactive in terms of addressing those as we go through our next cycle and think about that.
Yeah. So there will be a separate document for general comments and questions, and there will be another one for ideas for future proposals. And those will be slightly separate. If the question was tied directly to a proposal, it will be included in the documents related to that proposal itself.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Commissioner Holmgren. Moving on to the drafting committee.
So I want to thank everyone that served on the drafting committee because we got all our work done. We got everything to the Scrivener. We got everything back. We reformatted. It's just that Commissioner Garber came up with a little tweak we needed to change in the general instructions to facilitate how she proposes that we walk the amendments over to the auditor's office. So she plans to make those changes by tomorrow morning. Then the completed amendments, resolutions will be available in the folder, and hopefully Michelle will email them to everybody on the commission so they have them when we're voting. It's something else to add.
And we will also be putting them on the website too. I had reached out to Johnny to let her know once. I wanted to make sure that it was not an issue putting a non-signed resolution on our website, and they said there was no problem. So once I make that small adjustment to the instructions on how we get it to the auditor, we'll get those out tomorrow to all the charter review commissioners, and we'll get it on our website so the citizens can see them too.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Klein.
Thank you, Chair. Last week, you talked about the budget where we were with the Scrivener and paying her for the review of our amendments. I'm curious to know, in that we are a little over halfway through the allotted amount for our 2-year term on Scrivener View. Commissioner Landisberg, were there many edits made by our Scrivener on what you submitted to her on the amendments, or was it really a minor feedback?
Most of them were very minor, and we fixed them after we got through like the first set of instructions. There were some typos and some amendment things, language that we had in all the whereases that she corrected. But there was one amendment, which was the initiative amendment, which she did have some substantive corrections saying that we had cited to the wrong statute. And so the wrong section of us.
No, we didn't cite the wrong statute. She discovered a cross-reference typo in our charter, and she wanted us to correct that since we're already working on that section. Okay. And then she just pointed out there were so many section changes in that one. She wanted the section numbering of the resolution to be distinguished between them so there wouldn't be confusion. We also had a few others that had minor changes, adding a word here or there, and any of them that had substantive in any way she thought, we provided those to the prosecuting attorney's office for their review.
So the value of what we're paying her is we're getting a good return on the investment.
We are getting a good return. We're getting that if we find ourselves with a lot of amendments and we have a limited budget, we could look at whether or not we want to take, like there was one amendment, I think of Commissioner Adequame, where he just added another section, a D, saying that we could appoint to A, B, C, and add D or some language like that. I think we're now skilled enough on our drafting committee that we might not have to send something like that to her. I think we fixed all the whereases and hopefully we can get to every chair of any committee, well, to everybody, so that they can see the format of how we did the whereases. We changed it a couple times where some of them got very complicated with what they were trying to accomplish. So we added, be it resolved, be it further resolved. But, so we tried, so not everyone is a cookie cutter of the one before that. But we did learn a lot in the process.
Excellent. Thank you for the answers.
Well, it sounds like we're getting our a value out of it and an educational piece of that. So maybe that'll help us for the next session.
Right. I think we should review when we finish how much is left, how many amendments we have next time, because we could be putting them on both the 27 and the 28 ballots. And so, so it's just a question of whether we would need to go back to council to see if we needed a smidge more money.
Okay. Chair Erickson, I see you have your hand up.
Thank you. I just wanted to offer my thanks to the drafting committee, but also a comment on my perception of the value of the scrivener, which I think was good, return on our investment. We don't know what the scrivener is going to find for us, and sometimes even a comma or a singular word change can be very impactful. And those are changes that, if they're brought to our attention by the scrivener, are worth paying for. As far as our budget, I believe the contract was set up for up to 10,000. Our total allocated budget from the council is 20,000. So we do have additional budget to help cover scrivener costs going into 27. It's not exclusively limited to the 10,000 budget that we set as the current limit.
That is correct. We set that budget just for the RFP to go out, so we'd have something to work with. Thank you, Chair Erickson. Are there any other comments for the drafting committee? Okay. We will move on to comments by staff. Michelle?
I don't have anything this evening. I'm glad to be back.
Ms. Otto?
Nothing for tonight.
Connie?
I don't have anything tonight either. Thank you.
And Kevin?
Nothing from me either.
Okay, well, that moves on pretty quick then. Perfect. If there's nothing else, we'll move on to and start with old business. July 8th protocol discussion. So the executive committee met regarding the July 8th protocol that we're going to try and implement here. And it was clear based on our discussion that there were two almost equal camps that a large portion wanted to be able to speak at each amendment time and or each amendment presentation. And there was another contingent that thought it should just all be in the beginning at public comment. So what we had proposed, and we'll bring for discussion, is actually two paths, where if somebody wants to, at the beginning of the meeting, take 3 minutes and speak on any of the amendments that are coming up, they can have 3 minutes. Or you could take path B, which would be you could sign up to speak for individual amendments and you could have 1 minute for each comment on that. That's what we came up with. So I'm open for discussion at this point. Commissioner Donnelly.
Question, could a given individual take the 3 minutes and then also take the 1 minute on another amendment if they wanted to comment on more than one?
Yeah, the original design is no. We were trying to limit one path to the other so that we didn't have somebody who kept coming up and coming up and coming up. So that was the original design, but we haven't obviously implemented anything. It's open for discussion. Yes.
So I wondered if somebody who doesn't have anything to say on a particular amendment say, well, I defer my 1 minute to Commissioner Donnelly.
No, I don't think we want to get into playing games like that. I think we want to, if you sign up, you get to use your time for that. Mr. Garber.
Actually, what we were talking about is our final hearing. We've already done all of our debate. There really wasn't going to be debate, to my understanding, from commissioners at this point. You don't get to sign up for 1 minute or 3 minutes, or at least that was our discussion. This was for the public to be able to talk. And then we were going to give each chair of the committee 90 seconds to talk about their proposal before we voted on it. But we had decided that the debate has already happened and there would be no reason to continue forward with that, unless I'm incorrect in that, Commissioner Erickson.
Commissioner Garber, you're correct. And I believe Vice Chair Haas said this, was saying the same thing, may have used the word debate, but the intent is we are talking now about public comment. That public comment, you have two options that we're proposing, and that is a member of the public can come in and speak at the beginning, have 3 minutes, and that would allow them to come at the beginning of the meeting as they have in the past and not necessarily wait, or to recognize opinions held by other members of the commission. In fact, have additional public comment limited to 1 minute per person before each amendment vote. But you get one or the other. You're 3 minutes up front, or you can sign up for 1 minute before each amendment, and with no limit on the number of amendments that you sign up for.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Sullivan.
Maybe a question. I think the topic came up last week, but is there a legal requirement that we allow them to comment on each individual amendment, or can we limit their comment to 3 minutes and it covers all currently 10 amendments proposed at this public meeting or hearing?
No, you can structure that however you'd like.
Okay. So my concern is still that if we allow 1 minute per amendment, we're still talking about allocating 10 minutes potentially per person that shows up. I don't know that I think that 10 minutes is reasonable.
Okay, Commissioner Klein.
I oppose the 1 minute per amendment comment. I favor the 3 minutes at the beginning and the public comment.
Okay.
From a time efficiency of the meeting.
Yeah, and the body was kind of split between the two, so. No, I appreciate your view.
Commissioner Chrisley has his hand up.
Commissioner Chrisley.
Thank you, Chair. I agree. I don't think the body needs to debate any further. We've heard all our debate. I would say, though, that I think limiting folks, I just don't anticipate people would speak on all 10 or 12 amendments. I think they would speak on the ones that they're passionate about, and giving them a minute to do so, I think, is respectful in the way that if you're saying that you don't want to hear from them on each amendment, then you're simply saying that, in my eye, it simply would be the body saying that it's not going to change my vote regardless of what the public feels or what they think. Then my question would be, it, you don't want to hear from them, I guess is my question. And if you do, you got 3 minutes, and maybe they want to speak passionately about 4 of them, right? So you got to give them 3 minutes to speak on 4, or would you give them a minute to speak on each one before the votes? And so that if maybe there's somebody in the public has something to say that would sway how you feel about putting it on the ballot. And so I think giving them the opportunity to express that, if you have 25 people come express opposition to one specific amendment, and if that doesn't sway your vote, then I don't know what public that we would be serving. So.
Commissioner Chrisley, just to clarify, you are in favor of the ability to speak at each amendment for the public?
Absolutely. That should be informing the work we do and the votes that we make. That's the constituency that we serve. This commission was never meant to be made in the image of the commissioners, and I've said that from day one. And so I continue to want to hear from the public, and I hope they show out and lines outside the door. And if we gotta take a while and get it done, then let's do it.
All right, I wasn't challenging that by any means. I just was trying to clarify that. Thank you. Secretary Garber?
One other thing we were talking about that might speed it up too, our discussion was the people that, let's say they were here to talk about 2601, we would have them all lined up, ready to go, and they would be waiting. So we could, move it along a little faster, but we thought we could do that. We could make sure that we had somebody stationed outside by the sign-up sheets to ensure that they either signed up for the 3-minute discussion where they could cover whatever they wanted on it, or individual ones, but not both of them. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you. Commissioner Landisberg.
I feel like we've given the members of the public ample opportunity throughout this process, and many of them have taken advantage to give them our comments. So that I would be in favor of just 3 minutes at the beginning to hear from everybody, because it isn't just 1 minute for the people in line. Then we'd have to take each person online, and that usually takes way more than a minute to get those people online.
Valid point. Commissioner Adegame.
Thank you. I think the proposal that currently stands from the executive committee strikes a good middle ground between those who wanted to have all the comment in one period and those who think that people should be able to comment on each of the amendments. I don't know that there's one that's going to be, oh, this is the perfect example that'll please everybody in the room, but I think this does a good job of trying to hit both. To me, personally, as part of a public hearing and for proposals that are being voted on, separately, it makes sense to have that comment be as close to the voting of that proposal as possible to make it more in line with the public hearings that other, bodies in this county have. But I also get that we don't want to have so much time allocated to public comment. It might extend the meeting, but I also think that's kind of the job. Sometimes the public has something to say and we have to listen, and it takes time, but that's the job. So I think this is a good middle ground between what I feel and I think what some of the other commissioners feel, which is maybe the opposite of what I've described here. So thank you to the executive committee.
Yeah, thank you for your input. Commissioner Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in favor of the 3-minute format. I think, as Commissioner Chrisley said, maybe some people won't speak on every amendment, which means if you only want to speak on 4 or 5 amendments, 3 minutes should be plenty. As Commissioner Landisberg said, people have come and they've spoken to us, some at every meeting, and we've taken that in. So people have had ample opportunity to chime in, though I do think it's good to give them one more chance. Is it possible maybe a compromise would be to do a 30-second comment before each? That way, for the sake of time, it gets us a little closer to that 3 minute per person rather than the 10, because we don't know what turnout's going to be.
And that's true, we don't, but we can support motions if we get through some of the discussion. Commissioner LeBrant?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be in favor of even of just cutting the 3 minutes at the beginning altogether in terms of if we want to keep things moving along and we're concerned about time. Thinking through the specific process for each amendment proposal, based on the discussions, what I'm hearing sounds kind of like the presenter gets their 90 seconds for kind of a closing argument. The public gets a chance to, individuals, here's 60 seconds to say yes, no, here's why. We get a minute to think about it. We thought about it a lot, but we get a minute to think about what we've heard from the presenter and from the public, any public comments. And then we vote for each amendment, and it stands alone as kind of its own hearing package. I think I don't think we run the risk of taking up too much time doing that. As we talk about, like, who shows up, who's going to be commenting on which things, I think we're going to probably land somewhere in the middle where we'll have a couple of folks really passionate about probably each of the amendments or several of the amendments, and they get their time. But that way it's close to the subject matter, and we get to make that kind of last informed decision. That's my 2 bits.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jay, and then we'll go to Commissioner Erickson.
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. I am aligned with either the 1 minute or the 3 minutes. I have no strong preference. My original idea was to just have us vote on all of them in one giant package, but obviously we won't be moving forward with that. So with that in mind, I think we could also potentially move the line along to speak to us in regards to just encouraging folks to not be duplicative in their comments. Just say, like, if someone's already said something that you were planning on saying, then perhaps for saving us some time, we can encourage people not to repeat themselves over and over again in public comment. That would be a good way to potentially shorten the line as well. But I'll support either one.
So we could just have a ditto button.
That'd be nice.
Perfect. Commissioner Erickson.
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. Speaking for myself, I do believe that giving both options to the public is appropriate. There may not be some members of the public who can wait to the end. So if they want to make their 1 minute comment on the 10th Amendment, the 9th or 10th Amendment that's on the agenda, they would have to wait the whole meeting. So I think giving them their 3 minutes up front is appropriate. And then there's going to be some who I think it's appropriate to let them have their 1 minute right before the vote is taken. And I don't, while time is an issue, this is not a normal meeting. This is the culmination of months worth of work. I don't think we should expect that public comment should be treated like any other meeting. So I'm strongly in favor of giving the public both options. I don't think we're going to be going into the midnight hour with lengthy public comment. It may go a little bit long, but I think that's appropriate in order to accommodate the public and give them their voice.
Thank you, Chair Erickson. Commissioner Holmgren.
Thank you. I think I'm in favor of allowing public comment on each individual proposal. I do hear the argument that we have given people lots of opportunity for public comment, but I would also like to highlight that in most of our communications that have gone out, we have highlighted that July 8th is an important meeting and a deadline for us. And so many members of the public may have been treating that as this is the meeting where they get to say their piece and have not shared their feedback with us because they're planning to be there on July 8th. And so I think limiting it to just, 3 minutes at the beginning might be very limiting to some people.
Well,
so I'm comfortable with having a longer meeting and us listening to the public however much they want to tell us within the guidelines that, the 3 minute and the 1 minute standard that we've set here.
All right, that's a valid point. Thank you. Commissioner Stillman.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to point out that Counselor Belcott came and she shared about every single amendment in a very relaxed tempo in less than 5 minutes. So I think somebody can come up in 3, or if we want to stretch it to 4 minutes, let them come up, have their say. They could comment on all 10 amendments currently on our ballot in less than 4 minutes. So I think it would stretch out our meeting a lot if we're asking for them to do it before every amendment, because those transition times stretch out a lot too. So it's not a minute for each speaker. It's more like 3 minutes for each speaker for them to speak 1 minute, because you have the time before they speak and you have the time after they speak that you're transitioning. So I do want us to be time efficient. I do want everybody to have their say, but just like Councilor Belcott did, they're free to give us their comments in writing. And they can cover all 10 amendments in less than 3 or 4 minutes, is my feeling. And that would actually be more time efficient for them if we held all the comments at the beginning of the meeting. The ones that are freed up after that can go, rather than, like somebody said, waiting till the 10th amendment comes up and then commenting on it. How long are they going to have to wait around to do that? So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner. Is there further debate? Is there anyone that would like to make a motion? Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. I move that we allow for 1 minute before every item that we are voting on for the agenda, for the amendments, for allowance of public comment. And I also, in this motion, would like to allow for the 3 minutes at the beginning of the meeting as well to be retained as a standard open public comment.
Seconded, adequately.
Commissioner Garber.
May I make a friendly amendment to add to your motion that we also include the part that the chair of the commission can have a 90-second comment and there would be no debate by the commissioners?
Yes, I'm open to that.
Sorry, as the person who seconded that amendment, just want to make sure you're talking about the chair of the study committee or the sponsor, not the chair of the commission.
Correct. The chair of the study committee.
Thank you. Then I would be inclined to support that.
Perfect.
Commissioner Holgram.
I think I'm not sure that that motion clarified that members of the public would be allowed to sign up for 3 minutes at the beginning or the 1 minute, not both. So it's a.
Yes, let's update that too.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to allow for our normal 3-minute public comment at the beginning of the meeting, in which you could address anything that you want. There will also be a 1 minute per person per amendment. I'm sorry, or there will be a 1 minute per person per amendment opportunity, followed by a 90-second recap from the chair of the study committee. Did I get that right? And there's no debate. Okay, that's on the roll. It's been, Commissioner Erickson.
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. I believe the discussion up to this point has been that the statement by the sponsor or the committee chair would precede the public comment. So the order of events would be actually a summary of the amendment read by the chair, the commission chair, the final 90-second statement by the sponsor or committee chair, open it up for public comment, then move to the vote. I believe that's the order that we've discussed in the past. And I would suggest that if we're going to include in the amendment or in the motion, the reference to the statement by the committee chair, that we clarify it comes before the public comment.
Commissioner Jay, are you amenable to that?
Yes.
And Commissioner Agwami?
It was my understanding that that 90-second statement would come at the end, but I have no horse in this race. I'm fine with that clarification.
Okay. Commissioner Donnelly.
Thank you. I recommend that we have the 90 seconds at the end.
Okay. Well, the motion is having it at the beginning at this point, if I am recalling it correctly. So you would have to get the motion amended.
Yes, I make a motion that we have the 90 seconds by the committee chairman at the end.
LeBrant, second.
There's currently a motion on the floor.
I
That's an
think this is an amendment to the motion.
Yes.
What,
Commissioner.
thank you, Vice Chair Haas. I would just be curious what would be the reasoning behind either. Why before, why at the end? I mean, I think it's important to have some, I have no strong opinion either way, but.
I'm happy to answer that. I believe putting it at the end would give the committee chair a chance to comment on any comments that had been made by the public that were erroneous or with which that person disagreed or that needed to be brought up. And to have those not to be brought up and to ask the chair to sort of do it at the beginning and to try to preempt or predict what might be said, I think is not as good as being able to comment on things at the end. So I strongly recommend the end.
Commissioner Selman.
I'll just ditto the comments by Commissioner Donnelly. I don't think we want to allow people to derail our comments with comments right prior to a vote that we can't address. So I think it's only fair that if people are given comments right before the vote, that the chair get to present and give their comments for 90 seconds immediately preceding the vote.
Commissioner Gasky.
Are we recommending that the sponsor debate the public?
No.
'Cause that's what it sounds like if we're moving it to the end and then they get to respond to the public comment. I would say, what's the purpose of the 90-second speech by the sponsor?
The executive committee looked at it as kind of the last just elevator pitch to remind the commission as to what the intent of it was.
Then my recommendation would be it goes before public comment.
Commissioner Ottawa.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I've seen it happen before where there's sort of a presentation and then, there's public comment about the material and the public hearing. And then if there's any response to that comment, it's offered then at that point in time. So I can see the rationale behind wanting to have it at the end and address maybe some of the concerns or questions or comments that are raised by the public. I can also see having it at the beginning as an intro to, this is the proposed amendment, which is now coming up for public hearing for the vote. I think it just depends how you want to treat the weight of the public comment and of the sponsor's words in that setting, right? So are they meant to rebut or address public comment, or are they simply meant to introduce their proposed amendment and give that 90-second, here is what we're about to vote on? So it really is just to determine what is the purpose of the 90 seconds. That tells you, should it go before or after?
Yes, I would say it would be up to the committee chair to make that choice. Give the committee chair the freedom to do one or the other. So it wouldn't be up to any of the rest of us to decide what the committee chair would use the 90 seconds.
All right,
It could be one or the other or some of both.
I'd like to call for the vote on the amendment to that motion. Oh, even though how do I do it so we can just move on to the vote?
Just let the chair.
Okay.
Well, if we're done with discussion on it, then let's move to the vote, Michelle. And this is for the amendment to the motion. Am I right? We're following along?
Yes. So
Okay.
as of now, I have Commissioner J motion to allow both the 3-minute standard public comment or a 1-minute comment for the specific amendment that the public wishes to speak to. A friendly amendment was made by Commissioner Garber to allow a 90-second recap by the committee chair. That amendment was accepted. Are we all on one accord? Okay. I just want to make sure that I have it right.
This amendment is to put that 90 seconds after the public comment. That's what's on the floor that Commissioner Jay moved.
Okay.
Sorry, Chair.
No, you were correct. I was,
Commissioner Ottaguame,
Sorry, no.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Yes.
Commissioner LeBrandt,
Yes.
Chair Erickson,
No.
Secretary Garber,
No.
Commissioner Hamlick,
No.
Commissioner Chrisley,
No.
Commissioner Landisberg,
No.
Commissioner Jay,
No.
Commissioner Klein,
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet,
No.
Commissioner Holmgren,
No.
Commissioner Benton,
No.
Vice Chair Haas,
no.
Commissioner Silliman,
Yes.
3 yes, remaining nay, motion fails.
Well, the amendment fails.
The
Now we're going to
amendment-
move to the motion.
Okay.
Is there any further discussion before I call for the vote on the motion? Seeing none? Michelle, will you call the vote, please?
Yes.
Can you repeat the motion?
It's up here on the screen too.
It was the one that I said before.
Mr. Chair.
I just noticed a mistake though. We're going to have to move the recap up to number 1. Yes, Mr. Commissioner.
I thought the recap was before each amendment.
Yeah, I don't read very well at this hour. So you are correct, Michelle. I am absolutely
I
incorrect.
mean, I could be
I-
wrong.
Where is the chair of our commission's comment? He was going to do a lead-in on this, and the sponsor was going to have their 90 seconds, and the public.
That is correct. Okay, we don't have the chair of the commission was going to give the very short title overview before the recap.
Vice Chair, does that really need to be in the motion, or is that not just part of the meeting process? The chair regularly.
It would be
introduces
just
items.
calling it probably off the agenda. So let's.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, do we need to clarify up there that it's 3 minutes at the beginning or 1 minute before each amendment?
Yeah, that's the motion on the floor is or. So if we could put in or. So,
Yes.
and Mr. Ben, I'm trying to get back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've had discussion about whether we'll debate before, but that is not included either that we will or won't debate in this motion. So I don't know if that's a discussion to happen later or if this should be added and discussed now to this motion.
But there is no intended debate at this point. So do you feel it needs to be in the motion?
I feel like I'm in a deep minority here, but I'll just state for the record, I think that we should have a short debate period. It's been a number of weeks since we've discussed many of these amendments. People's minds may have changed. And I don't think that there's a legislative body on earth that doesn't have one final round of at least brief debate before the final passage. So
Well,
that's just my opinion.
Would you be amenable to finishing this motion? And then if you want to bring another motion, you could sure do that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Chair Erickson.
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. I just wanted to comment on the earlier discussion about how the amendment will be introduced. The discussion we've had in the past is that the title of the amendment would be read by the commission chair, as well as a summary of the amendment using the text prepared by the Public Outreach Committee for use in town halls for each amendment. So it would be more than simply reading the name of the amendment. So I don't know that it has to be in the motion, but if it's going to be considered in or out of the motion, it should be done with that understanding, I believe.
All right. At this point, we're going to stick with the motion we have. And if somebody wants to bring another motion later, then we'll do that and try and keep it cleaner. All right, Michelle, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Ottaguame,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner LeBrandt,
Aye.
Chair Erickson,
Aye.
Secretary Garber,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamlick,
Aye.
Commissioner Chrisley,
Aye.
Commissioner Landisberg,
No.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Klein,
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet,
Aye.
Commissioner Holmgren,
Aye.
Commissioner Benton,
Aye.
Commissioner Vice Chair Haas,
Both.
Aye.
Commissioner Silliman.
No.
Okay. We have 13 ayes and 2 nays. Motion passes.
Thank you. Mr. McDowell, do you have a comment?
Well, I know I have a question. I just want to clarify. So if someone avails themselves of the 3 minutes at the outset, then they are precluded from participating in any of the 1 minute opportunities. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, great.
All right, Commission, I'm going.
Motion for a break.
Motion for
Not
break.
required.
Okay.
Chair's discretion.
All right, we will take a, how about a 7-minute break? I wanted Michelle to do math.
So we'll come back at 6:23.
Welcome back, Commissioners. We'll be moving on. The next item on our agenda is post-July 8th schedule. Sadly, we were supposed to get to this at the work plan subcommittee, and we ran out of time. We haven't finished the work plan either, so it's still under review. What we have discussed and talked about is a break for about 9 weeks into mid to late September. This is all fluid still because we don't have any of the dates worked out just yet. Then we would start back every other week for 2 hours of each session, adding to it as we needed to as work started to back up. There would be no deadlines until January, although we can start doing the work. We just would not have any deadlines until 2027. It's kind of what we're looking at, where we're moving towards. We're up for discussion, comments, and input. It is scheduled, hopefully, to be brought up at the next work plan subcommittee meeting. Yes, Ms. Lansford.
So you're doing dates for the 2027 ballot. Are you also going to include dates for measures that would be put on the 2028 ballot in your schedule?
That's still up for discussion. Would you like to see that?
Yes, because I have an amendment that I would rather have on 2028. So I would like some chance to put it towards the end and move the ones that people wanted 27 to go first.
Okay, so this is, part of this is for discussion so that we can take it to the work plan subcommittee. Mr. Ottoboni.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I have 2 comments here. One being that I think it was pretty clear that there was a portion of the commission during our last session who wanted to have some relief from earlier deadlines. So I think this really helps with that. But I'm in line with thinking that this is a good timeline. And then also just a note on the question that Commissioner Landisberg raised. I believe it's December 31st, 2027, or whenever the business of the commission concludes, right? So it's a hard thing as far as the closure of our term. And so it's hard to think about putting something on the 2028 ballot and not having a framework for getting comments or coming back to make a revision or really reacting to anything that can happen between a 2028 ballot and December 31st, 2027, or whenever the business of the commission concludes, whichever comes first, right? So to me, I don't know that we necessarily would want to plan for 2028. I don't know that the voters who want to see 3 years of charter amendments on the ballot. I do think that sticking to 2027 makes sense. I think these dates, even as preliminary as they are, make sense. So thanks again to the work of the committees involved.
Okay, just to clarify, I believe it says when the work of the commission ends or 2027.
Whichever is first, yeah.
Yeah, the way you first said that, I kind of went like, well, we could drag that out through 2029.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to clarify.
There's
Thank you for
nothing.
pointing that
Yeah,
out.
okay, perfect. Yeah, Secretary Garber.
Hi, thank you. I do want to share something that Mr. McDowell pointed out. He does want to provide a presentation to us on electioneering and endorsements and any kind of information like that, but they were hoping they could do it July 22nd. So I do want to kind of put that out there that they're hoping maybe we could meet one additional week so we could do that. So even though it says that we would go on recess, he did reach out today and ask that question, so we should consider that also.
Commissioner Klein?
Commissioner Garber, would that electioneering presentation be the sole purpose of that meeting?
Well, I would think that we could still be working on our bylaws and our work plan because we might, maybe it would be at that point we are taking the final, well, we can't take a final vote because we have to give 2 weeks, but it could allow us more time to work on those items.
If it's not completed on July 15th?
Correct.
If the sole purpose was to be the presentation, is that a public meeting that needs to be, is that a public notice? Could we do a Teams meeting for that particular council on electioneering?
If there's no action that is taken, then in theory, it does not need to be noticed as an open public meeting. However, as Secretary Garber was just saying, if there's going to be continuing work on the work plan or the bylaws or other business of the commission, then of course, yes, it would need to be.
Commissioner Holcomb, did you have something?
My question was mostly connected, it was very similar to what Commissioner Klein was asking, which is it seems like it's possible that this could be a more informal meeting than our standard meeting. But I wonder if also maybe it's this opportunity for us to just, well, you know what? That's my comment.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on that? Commissioner Jay.
I just wanted to say how important it will be to learn anything on electioneering. I'm very super curious about that, and I'm willing to take any time needed. And if it can be an informal meeting and I don't need to tuck in my shirt, that sounds even better. And I don't need to wear a sport coat, even better. So whatever works, but open to that idea.
So just a clarification, could that look more like a training? We could have an online training portal for that on that date as opposed to a commission meeting?
So yes, potentially. One thing that I would really want to caution against is any discussion, like if the commission decides to set this out as just a training presentation, then that's fine. But I would caution against any discussion of bylaws, work plan, any other commission business, even like something off the cuff, just kind of presentation, Q&A strictly relating to the presentation and no discussion of any other topics. You're okay with that, if that's what the commission wants to do.
Okay, so we would just have to make sure that that is out in the open in the beginning, and we could obviously record it for evidence, I guess. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Adegame.
Thank you. Just technical question. With WebEx, are we able to do like a webinar format where you can still see that all the commission members are present, but then you would prevent chat between commissioners and just be able to have that Q&A be something where we're submitting the questions. And I'm seeing some nodding here. So I'm assuming that there's a way to do that technically, which would just sort of prohibit or that conversation from happening, or at least help us stay in compliance, perhaps.
That's certainly an option.
Okay.
I mean, at least I can't really speak as to the technical aspects, but the idea that you've expressed is an option.
Commissioner Landisberg.
Since we have time constraints of when you have to put the public notice out, I would suggest that we put that date on the calendar and get it out so that we're not under a lot of pressure on the 15th if we don't get our stuff done.
Okay. We'll get that to the, I think what you're asking or what you're requesting is that we go ahead and make the July, is it 15th or 22nd, a meeting. And then if we don't need it as a public meeting, we could cancel it. But if we do for work we didn't get done or things we need to talk about, then it's already set out as an open public meeting.
It's already a meeting.
No, it's already a meeting.
There's right now.
Michelle's way ahead of us again.
There's no deadline right now.
Okay, perfect. We'll take that back to the work plan subcommittee and continue to work on that. Speaking of the work, is there any further? Mr. Holcomb.
Yeah, I wanted to go back to the 2028 discussion. I think it makes the most sense to me that we treat any amendments that we think might be for 2028 as concurrent with 2027 until such a time that we decide that we are actually going to put something on the ballot for 2028. Just in case, maybe we end up that we've decided as a group that we don't want to put something on the ballot for 2028 because of the fact that we think 3 rounds is too many. So I think it should just be the advice of the group that it's like we get these as close as possible to the finish line, and then maybe at the end we decide that we're going to move something to 2028 for practical or turnout reasons or whatever the reasoning might be. But I wouldn't think it would be a mistake for us as a commission to try to plan a whole separate process for 2028 that happens after August 3rd of 2027.
Okay. Kevin, did you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, so I think that the idea that Commissioner Landisberg just mentioned about having that date set aside as a meeting does provide some versatility there and potential for, if there's a day needed for some overflow from unfinished business. The key point, I think, would be the agenda and just making sure that the agenda is timely published. And that could even be done with some placeholder items. If you there's certain things that we can think of, work plan, bylaws, but having the agenda timely published, I think, would be the main procedural item that you'd want to make sure is completed.
Okay, thank you. The executive committee will definitely take care of that beforehand. Any further comment on us still working on this fluid schedule? And if not, we'll go ahead and move on to the next order of business, which is the work plan.
Commissioner LeBrandt did have his hand up.
I'm sorry there, Commissioner LeBrandt. Go ahead.
All good. I guess I would ask, I would anticipate that discussions around 2028 could influence what the work plan subcommittee discusses and ultimately produces at its next meeting. And so I don't know how far we want to go down that rabbit hole, but I think it would be helpful if we were to go into that meeting, coming out of this meeting with an understanding about 2028. Because I think that's going to, when we start to map out specific amounts of time for discussion for each amendment, I think that's going to shape how much time is available, how much we need to anticipate whittling down amendments at each stage, that kind of thing.
Commissioner Gasquet.
Yeah, I believe this discussion came up at our previous work plan subcommittee, and we were beginning to decide that we would look at them concurrently, and then towards the end of the process with the 2027 amendments, we would then decide what would be a 2028 amendment. But the idea is that we would move on this current schedule to try to have everything done by August 3rd, or I guess July 16th next year.
I believe you're correct. Any further discussion? Am I missing any hands, Michelle? We're good. Okay. If you will turn to the old business, number 2, it looks like, is so far what we've come up with the work plan. It's a redlined version, if you will, but it's in different colors. We've changed the date at the very top. We made no changes to step 1. Step 2, we took out the submission deadline date. We took out some wording for optional co-sponsors.
Explain why we did it.
So we've moved some of the stuff back to, where did we move that to? Oh, to the first reading, which is where the optional co-sponsors went. It was after the first reading. Step 3, the first reading, we took the decision point of 5 affirmative votes out. You'll see why here coming up. Took the date out. We had yeah, we moved it down into the text box, if you will. And then we took out if the vote fails to reconsider for 2027. As I go through this, if somebody has something in addition that they would like to add or a clarification, please let me know, because we want to take that back to the work committee. Secretary Garber.
I just wanted to say our goal with this work plan was to remove all the dates out of this, so it could be kind of a standalone document used by future charter review commission. And so we tried to eliminate any of that. And that's why you see all the deadlines removed, because further on, you'll see that it says that the work plan is contingent on the timeline that we create too.
Commissioner O'Gorman.
A small note, there's just one more date in there, and that's the very, very top of the first page where it says 2026 ballot cycle.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. I just wanted to point out what Commissioner Adegwame said, but I also had a few other things as well. For one, this would be more so to Chair Erickson, but don't think I didn't notice that the interim presentation has been added as a step. I know how much he loves interim presentations, so don't think I didn't notice, Chair Erickson. But also on step what was formerly known as step 6, the step formerly known as 6, now known as 7, ballot referral has a typo on it as well. Just wanted to call that out and follow up on Commissioner Adegwame's point on the 2026 ballot cycle. Aside from that.
Where is the other date?
It's not a date on step 6/7, the green one, now 7. I don't know. They're crossing out on both. Yeah, referral, drafting, and ballot referral. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I'm sorry, Commissioner Holcomb. I was not trying to ignore you.
It's fine. You're looking the other way. I get it. I do think looking at this, step 5 almost seems like the interim presentation, the new step 5, does in many ways presume the creation of a study committee. And so it kind of makes sense that it either would be part of the study committee step or be after the study committee. I know that it's in between, because with the study committee, we're talking about both the creation of the study committee and then the vote to move to the ballot and drafting. But you would want to convene and create the committee, the study committee, before you do an interim presentation. So I almost feel like that just should be like a section of the study committee step is that an interim presentation is recommended.
Okay. Commissioner Aruwame.
Thank you. Just a quick question. At the very end with the charter amendment voting requirements, I know that it looks like there's been an addition of some of the minimum votes required to each of the steps here. But then I just want to get a little bit of an understanding of how the voting requirements are meant to work in tandem with that. And then also there's a C and a D here. I'm curious if there's supposed to be an A and a B. Is that just a renumbering mishap or? Okay, thank you.
I'm sure it was an error. So we can see.
Which part did you see that on, sir?
Right here, it says C and D. It will be changed to A, B, and C. We added that middle bullet about, it was brought up at our work plan subcommittee, that the idea would, if there were less than 15 commissioners and you had a vote on your study committee presentation and all 15 commissioners were not there, and if your vote failed, at least by the amount of people that were absent, and you know them to be in support of yours, you could ask to have the vote happen at the very next meeting when you assume that they would all be there.
That seems very strange to me. I don't know why we would do that.
Well, that was brought up because to avoid deferring to the next meeting at the last minute because three of your supporters you find out aren't going to be at that meeting. So you could take the original vote and then re-ask for it. But can we hold up in just a sec? Can we go back up into the work plan so we can get through here? And when we get there, can we address that? I don't want to skip over anything is all.
That's a good point.
All right, so I think we left off somewhere around 4, so we'll just go through that real quick. We took off the dates, the decision point, remove that. We changed a little bit here to 15-minute deliberation. We just added or a co-sponsor. And see where we took out the sponsor may distribute and adding presentation materials for second reading must be presented to staff on an agreed upon schedule. We wanted to put that in the work plan because we didn't want to put hard dates on. I'm sorry, we didn't want to put hard dates on, but we wanted to make sure that Michelle got all of the materials in a timely manner. Sometimes we rush her and sometimes we can get them to her sooner. So we wanted to get that in the work plan. Minimum of 8 affirmative votes required on the second reading to advance to the committee study. And then we already talked about moving interim presentation to after the study committee. The study committee was renumbered, which we'll talk about at our next meeting, and took out the date. Continuing on step 6, which is currently numbered as step 6, this could get confusing. We're taking out commission approves the committee's charge and scope. Committee operates within the approved scope and work plan. Then we move down here to presentation format is 30 minutes total. We added question and commission debate. Go ahead. Sorry. It's Landisburg.
Why are we making it so hard to have a vote of 8 before we've even fully developed the concept in the committee and studied it? It just seems premature to say we need that many votes to advance it.
Okay. We're just here for discussion, so go ahead.
My understanding from the last couple of meetings, that was made really clear that there would be the vote of 5 at the first one, and then all others would be a vote of 8. I mean, they wanted that changed in the bylaws, so I think that's why they wanted it to be made 8. But, you know, it is all still up for discussion.
Not necessarily.
Further on that, okay. Moving on to step 7, the drafting and ballot referral. Oh, I see it now. We got rid of all the dates, obviously. That's becoming redundant. The commission may retain instead of the retainment of. Gives us the option if we decide that we aren't finding as much value for the second year. And then on the bottom, 18 days before the date of the primary. Is that right? Okay. Oh, just in sorrow. County auditor's deadline no later than the date of the primary. We got rid of the timeline that was in from 2026 that was in the work plan. And then moving down to charter amendment voting requirements. I'll let you all read this. This is all brand new in there. And this goes to Commissioner Adegwami's question.
Thank you, Vice Chair. That second paragraph between what are currently C and D, I just don't see why we would implement that. It seems to me if folks aren't showing up for meetings to vote, that's on them for not, taking the charge given them by the voters who elected them to do that voting, whatever their choice of vote may be. I don't see why we would choose to allow something to defer until it had all of its supporters in the room. They should be there to do the position they signed up for. I'm really curious as to why we added that, and I strongly would disagree with having it put into the work plan.
Okay, I'm going to defer to Commissioner Silliman since this was.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
So this was my idea because of to balance out the requirement of going to 8 affirmative votes. And that's 8 affirmative votes at 3 separate times during the process. So we have had several times where we only had 13 people present and something passed with 7 to 6 vote threshold. So that would kill an amendment according to this process if we go to 8 affirmative votes. So my thought was, if the sponsor believes he has a vote that wasn't present, just allow a second vote at the following meeting when those members are present, assuming, or you would have to require them to be present, but that would be a safeguard against the not having a person present at your meeting that is a supporter on a motion that would otherwise get 8 votes if all members were present. So, and my intention is that it reduce any potential jockeying people would have, or a tendency to want to jockey. If you show up and you find out unexpectedly that one of your supporters didn't show up and you thought they were your 8th vote or your 6th or 7th and 8th vote, you got 2 members absent. I don't want somebody coming and saying, hey, I'm not ready, I'm going to defer my presentation, and throwing that schedule in. This would allow them to present it, take a vote, and if it doesn't pass, they could re-vote next week and call those people and say, hey, you need to show up. I only get 1 more vote. So it's an attempt to allow the majority of this commission have their say and make things proceed in a case, because we are raising the threshold. So that was my attempt to balance that out.
All right, thank you. Mr. McDowell, did you have an opinion you wanted to bring in?
Yes, I just wanted to communicate some concerns that I have regarding the language in the work plan from a legal standpoint. And I had previously sent out, I can't remember if it was just to the executive committee or to the entire commission, might have just been the executive committee, some comments and suggested red lines regarding the work plan. And I noticed that several of them are not incorporated. And I would be happy to take a moment to go through some of those and explain why I think it's important to make some of those changes.
Okay.
So the first one is on step number 5. At the very top, there's a bracket in the top first line at the end where it says subject to OPMA. My understanding is that the commission and the study committees are utilizing the case authority, which allows study committee meetings to occur without being noticed as open public meetings. And we can do that, right? Provided that there's no decision-making happening at the study committee level. Like that's the determinative factor under the relevant case law, is that you don't have to have an open public meeting if the committee or relevant body is not engaging in any decision-making activity. But anyway, the point I wanted to make is that it says subject to OPMA. If we're
Kathy just leaned over to me and said I messed up. I was supposed to have taken that off.
okay.
We did discuss that at our meeting, and I was busy taking notes and I did miss that. I apologize.
Okay,
I think it's written twice. There's another location too.
I was just going to notice that it's on step 6 as well. So
Yes.
that takes care of that.
Okay.
I do think it's important to take that out so that it reflects actual practice. A couple other comments as well. I'm just not sure what this means, kind of middle of the page on committee study. It says the amendment proposal study committee protocol document is incorporated into the work plan. I don't know what the amendment proposal study committee protocol document is. We might want to attach a copy of that if we're incorporating it, just so that everyone can see, especially if the if the work plan is going to be incorporated into the bylaws, we're incorporating this other document into the work plan. You've got kind of 3 layers there. It would be good, I think, to at least have them, if we are going to do it that way, to at least have them attached so that it's easy to reference what it is we're talking about. Next item on committee study is a sentence that's kind of in the middle of a bullet point. It reads, if the amendment is approved, this packet will be used by the drafting committee as the initial basis for development of resolution and charter language. This is where we potentially run afoul of OPMA requirements, because that potentially sounds like decision-making. So, the committee study materials are then being used by the drafting committee to develop the resolution and charter language. That's something that should come back to the commission as a whole to have the final say. We can have advisory committees, but we can't have advisory committees actually engaging in decision-making or taking action. Moving on
Chair, could I
to,
propose would it be appropriate for us to add if the amendment is approved by the commission? I think that's the intent of that line.
well, I mean, obviously, I'm
Okay.
don't want to debate. I'm just kind of want to itemize kind of the issues that I had identified, and not all of them were incorporated. So moving on to drafting and ballot referral, I actually did suggest that as a change here, kind of in the middle bullet point where it says the resolution packet. I recommended inserting as adopted by the commission rather than saying the resolution packet produced by the study committee. If we change that to say the resolution packet as adopted by the commission, that addresses that concern in part. But then again, the next bullet point where it says the drafting committee will be responsible for all formatting required to prepare documents for submission to the auditor's office. Again, there I would also recommend inserting something to the effect of, subject to approval of the commission, so that it's not the advisory committee that is taking that action outside of an open noticed open public meeting. Fine to do that formatting work in an advisory committee, but then it's got to be, the decision-making has to happen in the public process. So those were the main concerns that I had, that I didn't see many of those incorporated in the proposed draft, and I just wanted to highlight that.
Well, thank you. And I think most of it's just it's the way it's written. We intend obviously to bring it back before the body and that. And so, but cleaning that up will be fantastic. Thank you.
And we'll also provide it to you. So you can review
I'm
it.
happy to, if it would be helpful to resend to the executive committee, just so you have it handy and you don't have to go hunting for what I had sent out like a few months ago.
Please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, Mr. Otago. I think so. Go ahead.
Thank you. I do appreciate the explanation from Commissioner Silliman on my earlier question. To my knowledge, I don't know that anyone has deferred their amendment because they didn't think they had enough supporters in the room. So I don't know that that's something we should be planning for when rewriting, the requirements here. I feel like this is out of place, and it's not something that we would want to have in our work plan, because it should be able to get the votes. You should be able to have the people who are in the room make those decisions. And if someone misses a vote, that is the cost of missing that vote. We shouldn't be able to defer until we have favorable conditions. It's not, it seems remiss of us to try and choose when we would put forth an amendment or a presentation for like second reading or something like that, just because we're looking for the favorable winds to pass the thing. If it doesn't pass because 8 people in the room don't vote for it, it doesn't pass. I don't understand the need to try and put a redo in here or build in an opportunity for people to get another bite at the apple. It doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Someone, did you ever?
May I make a comment? So the reason for the addition is that we are putting into this document thresholds that exceed the normal requirements of Robert's rules. So to balance out that additional excessive threshold, this is just an outlet valve to balance it out. This is actually a streamlined version of what's called a motion to reconsider, which is allowed under Robert's rules, but was previously prohibited in our document because we said a motion that fails automatically gets deferred till next year. So that exceeded the requirements of Robert's rules. I'm just asking for a procedure that is in Robert's rules, and I've actually simplified it because normally a motion to reconsider requires a vote to approve the reconsideration of the motion, and then you vote on the motion. So this is just simply streamlining that by saying if the sponsor requests it, we just hold a second vote. It literally takes 5 minutes. There is no more debate. There is no presentation, no second presentation. It's just holding a vote. So that was the purpose behind it. I don't think it's excessive.
Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I definitely hear Commissioner Artagami's points in regards to not rewarding or not waiting for favorable conditions. And I don't ever want to incentivize commissioners to not be at meetings and not take the votes that they were duly elected to take. Though I do also see that this is sort of formalizing some of the grace that we offered other amendments, which I'm aligned for a more standard process as opposed to doing it ad hoc, which we did with a lot of amendments. And that even if the commissioner is not at a meeting, that doesn't mean, and something dies because of that, I don't know if that accurately reflects what is the will of the commission, of what the 15 commissioners, all of us do will, who are duly elected. And just because somebody missed something, that doesn't necessarily reflect what the will of this commission is without that leeway of allowing this mechanism to allow us to see what the will of the commission is. And I also wanted to call out that there is another 2026 in here in the drafting referral. It's deep down in one of the bullet points. Just highly recommend maybe a Control F 2026 into the document to catch anything like that. But thank you.
Yeah, just a document that Secretary Garber was way ahead of you and had that circled already. Commissioner LeBrant.
Yeah, I'd like to. We have the work plan subcommittee meeting coming up on July 9th. And so I'd like to suggest maybe that we kind of get in those last comments right now, and then let the work plan subcommittee kind of do some of this hashing out on our behalf so that we're not having to do this in the broader commission. And then if there's still kind of lingering issues, we can circle back around at the subsequent meeting and take stuff up as a commission. But that way we're kind of making good use of the whole commission's time this evening.
Thank you. I do want to make sure we get all of the commissioners who want to have an opinion on it because it's easier. So Secretary Garber was first and then Commissioner Landsberg.
Well, I just wanted to express my opinion on allowing, although I am part of the work plan subcommittee, I am not really very comfortable with that portion added about if fewer than 15 commissioners aren't present. We have been elected to do this job, and if we don't show up, or whether, we have the ability to be remote, then, it's unfortunate, but that is what we are to do. I don't ever recall hearing the county council doing something like if they had somebody that they turn around and take another vote on at the next one. It feels like we've been charged with doing this, and we take a vote and we act on that vote alone. My thoughts.
Thank you for your opinion, Commissioner Landsberg.
It wasn't clear to me if we were going to have to go out again to get a bid on Scrivener services, or if we're just going to keep the Scrivener that we have to expedite the process. And secondly, I just want to note again that I don't like the idea of having to have 8 votes to move it through the second reading.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Benton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a brief comment. I understand where Commissioner Garber and Adewale are coming from. People willfully miss meetings, but life is strange, and sometimes people, under no fault of their own, miss meetings, and there's no mechanism currently in place like a motion to reconsider. So something, I think the intent is something that would allow, if the full, like Commissioner Silliman said, full group of support, if it's going to be a tight vote, isn't here for whatever reason, there should be some mechanism to defer, reconsider in a following week, rather than being, oh no, during that week, this crazy thing happened, and now my one shot at this amendment is dead.
Okay, thank you for your opinion. Commissioner Laurent, did you still have your hand up or just forget to take it down?
I was just forgetting to take it down.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Adewale.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I think in light of what's been shared, the only way I could see supporting language like this being added is if it came with the commission having to take a vote to allow it. And so if we've removed the language that says that things would be reconsidered for 2027, we've kind of removed the problem that Commissioner Shillen was mentioning, because we would just be able to then do, to seek a motion to reconsider, a motion to renew. If that isn't permissible, having taken out that 2027 language, then something that requires the commission to vote to allow it would be much more palatable. Just having the committee chair be able to ask to have the motion held at the next commission doesn't make sense, especially considering that we're specifically talking about a motion that doesn't receive enough affirmative votes in the first place. Why would we choose to allow someone to take something that we couldn't agree needed to advance and say, let's vote on it again? That part doesn't make sense. But if the commission fully, as a body, said, hey, let's retake that vote, that would make sense.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Klein?
I agree with Commissioner Landesberg in that I don't like the 8 votes to advance the second reading. I like the lower threshold. We agreed when we established this commission that we were going to operate by Robert's rules, and a motion to reconsider is part of Robert's rules. Either we're going to utilize the rules of that running a meeting, and we will use motion to reconsider, or we introduce something like this to make our process efficient. So I support that particular possibility that it could be needed, but I'll just let that be my comment.
Okay. Obviously, the work plan subcommittee has a lot of work to do still. Has everybody been heard that wanted to be heard? I think Commissioner Holger.
I'm just going to briefly echo. I also support not having an 8 affirmative vote threshold on the second reading. I think that as a majority vote without it needing the stricter 8 vote threshold makes sense.
Okay, thank you for the opinion. Mr. Sullivan.
Having seen the vocalization here against the 8 or the proposed change to 8 majority vote that's at the second reading and the committee presentation, those are both additions instead of just the simple majority vote that they were before. Would you mind if I propose we have a vote of the whole body to decide before you proceed further with the work plan study committee, we actually want the majority of the body to move forward with that requirement? So I would move that we hold a vote on that 8 vote requirement.
And move that to.
I'm sorry, what?
I would move that we hold a vote on, do people want that 8 vote requirement? Or I would actually move that we retain the original requirement at the second reading and at committee study that it's a majority vote. That would eliminate the problem that I'm trying to address with just simply adding a motion to reconsider. So that's a motion. If somebody would like to second it, I would like to vote on the issue of whether we're moving from majority vote to 8 votes by proposing we retain the majority vote that we've currently operated under.
Second, Landisberg.
Okay, discussion, Commissioner Jay. Okay. So there's a motion, Commissioner Holgram.
Yeah, I support changing it for the second reading. I don't for the study committee. And the reason for that is the study committee vote is the main vote in the way that we have treated this. That vote happens when we have the big debate. That's have had the full discussion. It feels like that's really the point where the 8 affirmative votes is most important. If we have it as a majority vote there, and then we only have the 8 affirmative votes replacing it on the ballot, that means that if we follow the procedures we're going to be following next week, we will have no debate before that 8 affirmative vote threshold. So it'll be kind of like a last minute surprise kind of situation.
But do you really think something's going to get it all the way through drafting without enough support to get 8 votes at the end? So
I guess I think it's possible that something could have 7 votes and then it gets moved on to drafting committee. And then, I mean, I think that would be frustrating for all of us to be like in that situation.
Well, but we've operated, sorry, I didn't want to
Well,
turn this into
there's a
debate.
motion on the
Sorry.
floor and we're having discussion, and
If it's less informal, sorry, I don't want to overstep, but
is there any more discussion on it?
Sorry, could you restate the motion on the floor, please?
The motion on the floor is to remove the need for 8 votes to move
second reading
and at the committee, right?
and it would stay as a majority vote like it is now.
Stay as a majority vote. Remove the 8 number out of both of those.
For the,
Chair Haas, Commissioner Erickson has his hand up.
Sorry, I did specify majority vote, not majority of members present.
Yes, majority.
Commissioner Erickson has his hand up.
He got kicked off.
no, he's online.
Oh, he is?
Yes.
Oh, I can't see him. I'm sorry. Commissioner Erickson, do you have comments?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chair Haas. And I'm back. So I'm sorry for having lost connection there. I just want to clarify that we're understanding the same thing, that when we say vote on the way it was, because there's been some discussion around this topic, our current bylaws say it's the majority of those present. I think there's been a preference stated to make it a majority of those present and voting. In other words, abstentions and recusals are removed without and it's just the majority of those voted. Right now, it's the majority of those present. So I want to clarify or make sure that we're understanding that the motion that's on the floor is actually to retain what's in our current bylaws. And if the intent is to have a majority of those voting, not just the majority of those present, that would actually require a change to the bylaws, which we're not doing today.
Well, we are not actually voting to update the bylaws today. We're voting to give direction to the work plan subcommittee.
Well, agreed, but what I heard from Commissioner Silman was keeping the status quo, and I want to make sure that we're on the same page what that means.
Okay, I actually moved that it be changed to majority vote to clarify, and that it not be changed to a 8-vote requirement. And that's just giving direction to the work plan subcommittee to work forward on this along with their bylaws and work plan proposed changes. But I'd like us as a body to decide, are we actually going this direction before we continue to proceed that direction?
Okay, Mr. McDowell, did you have?
I just want to echo Chair Erickson's comment and just to clarify, I think what I'm hearing Commissioner Silman propose is a majority of the members present and voting. So, because when you just say majority vote, it's kind of ambiguous, but I think you're saying majority present and voting. Am I hearing that correct?
If you'd like that clarification, yes, I agree. That's to clarify.
Michelle, are you up with us on the motion now?
Now I am.
Okay. Okay, well, did you, yep. Oh, okay. The motion has been brought and seconded, and it is to remove the number of 8 affirmative voters from the second reading and from the committee reading and change it to the majority of voters.
The majority of vote of the members present and voting.
Members present.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Very much. Cheryl, will you call the roll, please?
Yes, I will. Commissioner Ottaguami.
No.
Commissioner Donnelly.
Yes.
Commissioner LeBrandt.
Yes.
Chair Erickson.
Yes.
Secretary Garber.
No.
Commissioner Hamlick.
Yes.
Commissioner Chrisley.
Yes.
Commissioner Landisberg.
Yes.
Commissioner Jay.
Aye.
Commissioner Klein.
Yes.
Commissioner Gasquet.
No.
Commissioner Holmgren.
No.
Commissioner Benton.
Aye.
Vice Chair Haas.
Yes.
And Commissioner Silliman.
Yes.
Okay, so we have 11-4 in favor of ayes. Motion passes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Commissioner Jay.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Just trying to remember what my previous comment was before this motion, but
Me too.
with the conversation surrounding the potential to have a potential second vote on things did lead me to also think about how opportunities potentially for, if it should come up that after a study group presentation, if there's something in an amendment that generally most commissioners support but want to tweak, like for example, if after the proposal regarding term limits, somebody wanted to say, I would support this without, and the majority of the commission felt this way, if it also extended to executive, if that could then potentially go back to study committee for it to be amended, or something smaller than that too. As we saw with our current process, if there were changes to an amendment, it was very ad hoc. If we can make a formal process, should things need to be actually tweaked as opposed to voted up or down on, if that makes sense. Hopefully I'm being clear, but it's just something to consider for the.
Well, I'm wondering if you would like to type up your thoughts and then send it to the work plan subcommittee members so that they can incorporate that in their discussion.
Okay, and that would be July 9th then? Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you.
Further discussion? Okay, the back has some procedural notes. I don't know if anybody has any questions with that. Give it for just a second. Implementation of the commission's work plan is subject to the commission's adopted timeline schedule. Obviously, that's going to be fluid. We took out 2026, 2027. A little bit of wording changes there. Anybody have any discussion with that? If not, we will move on. Go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that we were talking about if a proposed amendment that failed to advance was withdrawn or deferred, that when they bring it back, like let's say they withdrew it this year or deferred it, it comes back at step one next year. It does not start where they left off. And we had a real good discussion about that, but we realized it was important to go to start at step one because you could have another charter review commissioner that might have an idea that could be a companion with yours, and we wouldn't know it if yours was starting back at study committee presentation and theirs has to start at step one. So I just kind of want to point out our logic on why we did that.
Mr. Landesberg.
So to clarify, are we going to start renumbering whatever proposals start with like 2701, 2702, and just renumber them for this next go round?
I would imagine so that we have them as the 27 here. Okay, if there's no further discussion on the work plan. Nothing up on the screen. Okay. That concludes our old business for now. It's moving on to new business. The executive team sees the need for some tweaks to be done with the bylaws in that. We would like to take nominations for a committee to revisit the bylaws and make changes. Obviously, it's a growing or living document that needs to be updated and clarified. And as we go along this first year, we have lessons learned that we should probably implement into it. So, Secretary Garber.
I just wanted to point out the reason when we talked last week, the body felt that it was important that maybe the work plan subcommittee could be doing this work. But after talking with Kevin, he said it would only be regarding like the hierarchy of the work plan, Robert's Rules of Order, and our bylaws. Anything that was in addition to that could not be done by the work plan subcommittee. And so it would be a wise idea to stand up a bylaws committee. So that's why we're bringing it before you today.
Commissioner Jay.
So moved. I would like to motion to create a bylaws committee.
Second, Donnelly.
Okay. Any discussion? Any, Brandon? No, sorry, Commissioner Erickson.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that, not knowing how many people will be interested on being on this, that if we happen to get more than 7 commissioners interested, that the membership will be determined by a drawing.
Such as other committees have been in the past. All right, there is a motion and a second. Is anybody opposed? That motion carries. Now I will entertain nominations for people who would like to be on it. Secretary Garber, you won first.
I would love to be part of this. I would really like to help out with that. Brandon.
Commissioner Erickson.
He wants to be part of the subcommittee.
Thought he had his hand up to say something. Got it. Commissioner Jay.
I was going to nominate the executive board as well as Commissioners Donnelly and Adegwame, and potentially whoever else would like to be on it as well.
Commissioner Adegwame, you had your hand up.
Oh, I was going to self-nominate, but apparently Commissioner Jay beat me to it. So I'm inclined to support that.
I am going to recuse myself from it because I have other things that I need to get done in my other life, and the committees I'm on are eating into that a little bit. So anyone else? So far I have Commissioners Garber, Erickson, Donnelly, Adegwame, and Jay.
Commissioner Klein.
Oh, and Commissioner.
And me too. Why not? I don't know. I'm just nominating people now.
And that would be 6.
Question,
Yes,
when are the meetings going to be scheduled?
we've not determined that at all.
Frequency?
We're going to leave that up to the committee to determine how much work they need to do and how often.
If I'm going to be on the committee, I want to make sure that I can commit the time, depending on when it's going to be. Bylaws will be worked in, the fourth quarter, perhaps, during recess? Because,
My vision of it was to create the committee and then let the committee self-govern to whatever.
okay, I
We have,
don't want to overcommit to something because I've got Medicare season coming up.
okay. So the other option is you could get on the committee and then ask to be removed because of
All right,
interference.
you
from
put
the
me on
activity.
there, subject to my availability.
Okay.
Who is the 6th person?
Garber, Erickson, Donnelly, Ottaguame, Klein, Jay.
And Jay. Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to accept the committee members? Oh, I'm sorry, I got somebody up here. What? Commissioner Erickson.
Thank you, Vice Chair House. I just wanted to comment on the timing. Keep in mind that we have the 14-day notice after changes have been made and then sent out for review before we can vote on them. So realistically, that's not going to be up for us to adopt and have these become effective till we come back from our recess. So for that to happen, we're going to have to be working on this probably during the recess, to answer your question, Commissioner Klein.
And that was one of the problems we had with trying to change it during the session was we had that 14 days and it was going to put us so far back that we decided to go with what we had and address it now. Questions, comments? All right. Is anybody opposed to I'm sorry, did we get it motioned?
Mm-mm.
Would anybody? Oh, Commissioner Jay made a motion. Okay, is there a second?
Second, Donnelly.
A second by Donnelly. Is anybody opposed? Okay, that motion carries. All right, the final thing under our new business, moving on, is amendment ballot placement order. Mr. Gardner.
So at our executive meeting, or maybe it was our work plan subcommittee, I could be getting this mixed up. We talked about the order of ballot placement, and I believe it was Commissioner Gasquet who originally talked about this, but we thought it might be a really great idea to list our proposed amendments in the order that of the section of the charter they are amending. So it won't go by from easiest to complicated or anything like that, or by first one in, and give some kind of advantage, but just strictly go by the order that they're in the charter. So that was our thought on it, and that's open for discussion.
Commissioner Silman.
My thought is that we don't need to make this more complicated than it is. And I would propose that we just vote to approve them in the order of their number. And they go in the ballot, on the ballot in the order of their number, or in the order that we approve them. I think that it doesn't matter what the order is. We don't need to overthink it. I think people are going to look at them individually and approve good proposals. And I think we have a lot of good proposals. That's
Thank
my
you.
thought.
Thank you, Commissioner Oglami.
I actually agree with Commissioner Silliman. It's a nice thought in terms of like, if I was going to pull up the charter on one page and look at the amendments in order on the other page, it's nice to not have to scroll back to another part. But I also don't know that that's necessarily something that anyone's going to do. I don't know that we need to determine order. I think it's nice to just say, we're going to turn them in and that's the order that they'll be in. There'll be information available to the voters to make their decisions, and putting them in charter order doesn't seem like it does anything for the majority of the voters.
So I'm hearing that you'd be in favor of as they sit on the page now in order.
Yeah, and we're specifically talking about the way that they are turned in, right? So that we're hoping that they'll be numbered in that order.
That's what I think I hear you saying.
Yes, then I'm in favor of how it is now.
Okay. Commissioner Landesberg?
I don't think that's fair to people who turned in amendments, who didn't know if you weren't the first to turn it in, you weren't going to be the first on the ballot. And that will make it like really hard if we're starting for the next go round. I still believe there will be voter fatigue, and I thought the shorter amendments might go first on the ballot. There's some that we only added in like one line to an amendment, and that we should bring the voters in before we turn them off.
Okay. Chair Erickson?
Thank you, Vice Chair Haas. I just want to clarify that I think we also discussed that the amendment around the number of members of the Ethics Commission, that amendment would go last regardless of what methodology we agree upon. So that should that be pulled based on the council's actions, it would not cause a renumbering of the other amendments.
It's a great clarification. Thank you.
Completely agree with that. Just wanted to express I completely agree with that, but.
Okay.
So I just want to point out, Commissioner Landesberg, you commented about how one might be a really simple one on the ballot and one might be more complicated, but the ballot language, there is a prescribed amount of words that the prosecuting attorney can use. So when they're reviewing it on the ballot, they're only going to see 75 words, whether it's a very simple one or a very complicated one. It's only the charter revisions in the back of the voter's pamphlet that would have more pages on it, but the actual ballot language, they get 10 words for the caption, they have to list the enacting legislative body, and they have 75 words to describe it along with a question, and that is how they have to do it. So it wouldn't be necessarily longer or shorter.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Commissioner Adegwame.
Thank you. Sorry, more of a question. Just was there a particular reason that we were seeking having it in charter order?
I think it was because there were a lot of different suggestions on how to do it. And I do agree that first in shouldn't necessarily be the first listed. I think numerical is fine, but I felt that there was kind of logic to going by charter order because it does not give any preferential treatment to any of them because nobody thought about it when they were listing their amendments, and it just was an option that we can consider.
Commissioner LeBrandt has his hand up.
Thank you. Commissioner LeBrandt.
I'd like to suggest that we, with the exception of the Ethics Review Commission number being reserved for last, that we have them in the ballot on random order by drawing of lots or some sort of random process. And that way it's not favoring anybody.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Anyone care to make a motion?
Commissioner Erickson has his hand up.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't normally get to make a motion, so I am going to make one now. And I'm going to make a motion that we follow Commissioner LeBrandt's suggestion that amendments appear on the ballot according to random drawings, except for Amendment 2631, I believe it is, which will be last.
Chrisley, I second that.
May I offer a friendly amendment? Could I propose that we also cast lots and vote on them in our committee in random order, or do we have to go into a certain order? because of our notice.
I have no real idea what you just said.
Does it matter in which order we vote on 'em in our committee on the 8th? We can choose to put them in whatever order we want after that by casting lots.
So
Maybe I should clarify that.
yeah, so
before.
we would vote on them as they're published now numerically,
Okay, so we can vote on them numerically, cast lots, and
and then have a random drawing.
random order. Okay.
Chair Erickson, is that what you foresee? Is that your motion, I should say?
Those seem like two different topics to me, but I'm not opposed to it, and I would be willing to accept it. I don't think the order in which we vote matters necessarily, so I would be willing to accept that amendment.
I just didn't know if that made a difference to people, what order we vote them in either. So I was trying to couple it and make them both the same. But if it doesn't matter, we can vote on them in numerical order and then put them on the ballot as proposed with, so.
Okay, well, the motion on the
with no
floor,
amendment.
I'm sorry, the motion on the floor is to randomly select the order except for the outstanding ethics amendment. It's been first and seconded. Michelle, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Commissioner Ottaguame,
Aye.
Commissioner Donnelly,
Aye.
Commissioner LeBrandt,
Aye.
Chair Erickson,
Aye.
Secretary Garber,
Aye.
Commissioner Hamlick,
Aye.
Commissioner Chrisley,
Aye.
Commissioner Landisberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Jay,
Aye.
Commissioner Klein,
Aye.
Commissioner Gasquet,
Aye.
Commissioner Holmgren,
Aye.
Commissioner Benton,
Aye.
Vice Chair Haas,
Aye.
and Commissioner Silliman.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you for that.
Will we be casting those lots at the conclusion of our voting then? On the 8th?
What if we're here till 10:30?
I think it would be something we would want done together and get that resolved as soon as possible.
Well, we're here on the 15th, is that correct? Yeah, we're here on the 15th.
Okay.
So why don't we move it to the 15th, and that way we aren't here till midnight playing amendment bingo. All right, I actually thought that was going to take a lot longer than it did. Thank you, Paul, for that. Go ahead, Commissioner. The only thing left on the amendment is for the good of the order. Do we have anything, Commissioner Garber?
I just have one thing. If anybody hears the score of the U.S. soccer team versus Bosnia Herzegovina, please don't tell me. I've got it recording at home.
My administrative assistant's Bosnian, so we got this. Anything else for the good of the order? With that, I would entertain a motion maybe to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded. Klein.
Anybody opposed? The motion carries. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate all the hard work tonight.